Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today to talk about generational wealth. We're going to be talking about business credit, what we need to know about business credit, what are some of the topics that me and some of the people in our community have tried to figure out about business credit. I've been asked to for the past couple of weeks. So many people have said, my business is struggling and they want to know exactly how can I get business credit, how can I get the finances to come into my community, and we've often talked about it. Okay, so today they said, Cepeda, I wanted you to talk about it. So what I'm going to do today is kind of give some good information about if you have started or wanted to start a business, what is some of the things that I must do, and how do I create that generational wealth about business, and how do people come into our community, start up a business, and it thrives for 10, 15, 20 years, and we seems like we can't do it. So one of the things that I've always done, I'm going to kind of divulge how I've ran my business, how I've been able to successfully capture capital while maintaining and it's not affecting my personal credit. Okay, so one of the things that was startling to me is that there's so many people in our community, in the African American community, that want these opportunities. And I was talking to an individual a couple of days ago, well, yesterday, and he was talking about he was bringing the governors and everybody together to talk about capital. And one of the things that I went to a couple of meetings that was dealing with businesses in our community here in Indianapolis, and it's all over the United States. It's not just here in Indianapolis. And we have some great initiatives that talk about get out and vote and talking about billionaires. And we look at some of the celebrities that are billionaires in our community, and the money don't trickle down. So what I begin to do is that understand that, what did I do to generate that wealth for me and my family, and put it in a way where other people can grab a hold to it and do the exact same thing. And so one of the things that was glaringly clear to me is that 3% of the Jewish community, and I believe that the Jewish community is a good model that we can pattern ourselves off of when it talks about generational wealth and those type of things. But 3% of the Jewish community make up 3% in the United States, but they make up 37% of the wealth on the Forbes. Okay, once again, and I'm giving you facts that you can go and look at, and you can actually go in and see 37%. I'm sorry, 37%. They make up 2% of the United States population, but they make up 37% of the wealth on Forbes. And these people are not wealthy because they're more smarter or brighter or whatever. They just know what system to put in place. And so as we start to talk about economic reform and how do we get a piece of the pie, we must, when we bring these people who grants that come to our community, we must be able to utilize and be qualified to be able to utilize those grants also, or those opportunities also. And so one of the things we have to do is change the way we look at wealth and change the way we look at business. One of the things that I've done is the first thing you have to change. There's a book that's out, and it's called Think and Grow Rich. Okay. And a lot of businesses have used this model to run their business. So as a man thinketh, so is he, if you're in the Bible. But the way that you think about money is the way that you will run your business. Once again, the way you think about money will be the way you run your business. I'll say it one more time. The way you think about money is the way you will run your business. So when people think of money, we think of tangible things. Economics 101 says money is whatever you decide to exchange for what somebody else is. So I give you a dollar bill, you give me a Coke, right? That's an exchange. Well, that's a tangible thing. Money is not physical. Money is spiritual. And I'm going to show you that through our businesses that we're going to talk about a little bit later. Okay. So the first thing you got to understand is that money is not physical, it's spiritual. Money is something that you do, is not who you are. So what do you mean when you say that? When you get ready to create a business, you're creating an idea, That idea has not generated any income for you yet. So when you're talking about creating an opportunity in your community, you got to exchange what you got to be doing. So when we start a business, you have to have an idea. Okay. Facebook didn't just say, hey, we're Facebook and everybody start using it. No, Facebook had an idea. And then that idea became reality once people got behind it. So remember I said money is spiritual. So what happens is that when you have that idea, you have that business idea, you're going out, you're looking for funding, you haven't put it on paper yet, but guess what? Whenever you create a business, your business's service, you should be wanting to service the people who you're dealing with. So you got to find out what the people need before you create the business. So find out if you're going to have a viable business, people invest into solving problems. So once you find out where the problem is at in your community or what problem that you're trying to solve, that is where you create the business. A lot of times we say wealth is equated to negativity. So when we say a person is rich, we automatically assume that that person is crooked or that person didn't get there the right way. Wealth is considered a bad thing in the African American community. It's psychological, right? So when we say a person is wealthy, we automatically, in our psychological brain, we automatically say that person has done something crooked or, he's not converted or whatever. But when other people look at wealth and they define businesses in their community, they say that wealth is also simultaneously with righteous. So what do you mean? When we're talking about creating businesses in our community, we have to look at them as viable resources that we can utilize, and it's not a bad thing. It is a positive thing. So what is the first thing we got to do? We got to understand, why does business credit so important in reference to generational wealth and economic empowerment and economic freedom in our community? I always say the cavalry is not coming. The creek has rose, the levee is giving way, and we're not going to get any help until we save ourselves. So why is business credit so important to generational wealth and economic freedom? Let me tell you why. The first thing that you must understand is that when you create a business in your community that is viable, that means that you have taken on the responsibility of creating opportunities for other people. So you created that business. That business is, XYZ. Let's use my company, MA&D Capital Investment Group, and we teach financial literacy. What is the number one thing that's in the Black community that most people don't understand? Financial literacy. So when people start logging on, I do this service for free. But what happens is, as people start to feel comfortable, I'm branding my company, right? So I'm providing a service for my business. My business is providing a service for my company, right? So when I say I'm providing financial services, where am I going into? I'm going into these areas. Are there people who don't understand what businesses are? Yes. Are people don't understand how to get a loan? Yes. Are people trying to buy a house? Yes. So I'm providing those services, and in return, they bring business to me. Okay. So once again, business is about services that you provide. It's not about how much money you can make. It's about how many people can you service. The more people that you service, the more business that you'll have. Now, why are you saying that, Cepeda? Who's the most popular, Mark Zuckerberg or Mother Teresa? Well, Mother Teresa had a noble task. People around the world loved her, right? A lot of people knew her. But I'm telling you this, Mark Zuckerberg was way far much greater than she was. Because how many people does he service? Facebook serviced billions of people, even during this pandemic. Most people could not see their loved ones at the very end if they didn't have a FaceTime. That is a service. So because he has a service, he can do philanthropy work. So what happens is when your business is thriving in your community, then guess what you can do? You can be Johnny on the spot. You can be the generational leader in your family that breaks the generational curse of being able to send your kids to school. You can be the one who has health care. You can be the one who pays for the family reunion or the one who does those things. And we need those things to be viable in our community. That's why when we look at the entertainment business, very few of them have money that trickle down to the masses. And it was asked a question. I went to a conference this week and it was in Chicago. And one of the questions was, how can we impact our community? And there's only really one way to impact our community, and that's through economic freedom. And what does that mean? Economic freedom means you'll be able to make choices on how you're going to be able to deal with the politics in your community, your education system, the police system, the crime. Everything is based on how viable the businesses are in your community. So this is why I'm taking out an hour today to talk to you about how to get finance in your community. The first thing you got to do is understand that businesses are financed not just by ideas. Businesses are financed not just by ideas. Businesses are financed by your willingness and your idea to provide service to stop a problem. What do you mean? If you come up with a business plan and it is a plan that's going to service people, then people will finance what you're doing. I was able, when I first got started in the business, and people always ask me the question, what did you do, Cepeda? What are you really doing to keep businesses going? So what I did way back before the stock market crashed is that I was trying to get people to buy homes in the mortgage industry. And so I had a company called Trademark Mortgage, and that's what I would do. I would go around and try to get people to purchase a home. And I had it messed up. So what happened was I was trying to make money instead of trying to provide a service. So I would go to the realtors' doors and I would knock on doors and ask people to try to get loans. And guess what happened? The door kept shutting, the door kept shutting, the door kept shutting. But I changed a guy, a Jewish friend of mine. He came to me and said, Cepeda, if you really want to be a viable business, change the way you think. And I began to ask myself, what are you talking about? He said, change from trying to make money to trying to provide a service. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, change from trying to make money to trying to provide a service. Because when you provide a service, the service will make you money. But if you're chasing the dollar don't never come up on top. So I tried it. So I went back to my office and I said, what service do my community need? We all need credit. So one of the things that I did is I started teaching credit classes. So once I started teaching the credit classes, guess what? It solved the problem. The problem was I was not getting any business because I was not providing a service. Once I started providing a service, I started to get the business. Once again, once I was able to get the service, now I'm able to get the business. Well, that's how that brings me to the next thing. What is business credit? Business credit is you have to get a tax ID number. So when you're getting ready to get finance, every bank that wants to lend you money, the first thing they're going to say is they're going to say, "Are you incorporated?" You can get that through the Secretary of State. You have to get incorporated, and then you have to get a tax ID number. Once you get your tax ID number, right? Your tax ID number is another Social Security number, okay? And it's evaluated from 0 to 100. So when people are saying, what type of financing do you need? You got to get a tax ID number. And that tax ID number is like another business, it's another entity, it's like a Social Security number, okay? But it's your business number. Now, when you're dealing with personal debt, you're looking at three different things. You're looking at your Experian, your TransUnion, and Equifax, right? Business debt, they deal with the DUNS number. What is your DUNS number? So if you've never heard of a DUNS number, the DUNS number is what your business is credited for. Now, just like your personal credit, there's things that affects your personal credit. Well, with your business credit, it's the exact same thing. When a bank is looking at your application, your DUNS number is the first thing that they'll look at. If you don't know what a DUNS number is, they immediately take your application like this. They'll see if you got a DUNS number. The underwriter will get there in front of the computer, and if you don't have a DUNS number, they throw it in the trash. Okay? Now, these are just general practices. So what is the DUNS number? What are they looking for? And you can write this down. The first thing that they're going to look for is when your business was incorporated. Was your entity that was incorporated, was it incorporated properly? And the last thing is, what are your certified financials on your DUNS number? Now, a lot of people say, "Hey, Cepeda, I don't need all of that." Well, guess what? The more information that you have, the more of your chances of getting financed. You would not believe, when I worked in the banking industry, so many people tried to go around me and they said, "Hey, I can go in there and I created my own DUNS number." And guess what happened? They didn't get financed. And so when they came back to me, guess what they said? "Well, Cepeda, I got turned down." Well, I was like, "Okay, did you set up your DUNS number? Did you actually did you get a CPA to give you audited financials and put it on your DUNS?" That's the first thing that you got to do after you provide services for your business, whatever business that you're in. If you're in the trucking business, look at services. Now, once you get service oriented, now you got your incorporation, you got your idea, you put it on paper, you got your name of your company, you got a nice logo. Logos are very important. One of the things, that Apple is Nike. You got to brand it. Come up with something that is very user friendly to you. Your brand should be what you feel you are. Your company should be no more than an extension of you. Okay? So business credit is so important to create economic wealth, because most of us in our community, we've over-debted. We have too much debt. So when the banks look at us, they don't see any assets in our company. So you going into the bank and you don't have any type of real estate attached to your company. You don't have any cars attached to your company. You don't have any trucks attached to your company. You don't have any equipment attached to your company. So the only thing that they can offer you is a guaranteed personal loan. So what should we do? So let's slow it down a little bit. What should we do? The first thing we got to do is, once we create the business, we get a tax ID number. I want you to start looking for real estate. This is what they're not telling you in the banks. This is what these people that you guys are watching YouTube on, they're not telling you this. The first thing that you want to do is start looking for real estate. Why? Because when you have real estate, that gives you the ability to have an asset that is attached to your company. Now, I know that there's people out there that says the LLC and sole proprietorship, all of those things, get with your accountant and they can tell you that. But once you get into a business realm, you got to have your corporation. And then before you go into the banks, okay, you want to own some real estate. I don't care if it's $2,000 that you got a fixer upper, but when you go into the bank, you want to have something tangible that they can put a lien against in case you go to default. I'll say it again. You want to have something tangible so that if you default, the bank can come and collect what you defaulted on. And there's going to be some things that I'm going to talk about a little bit later that we can even get around that. So the first thing that you want to do is create the business, tax ID number. Second thing you want to do is attach some real estate to your company. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a donut shop. It doesn't matter if you are a trucking company, a beauty salon, whatever it is. When you're going into the bank, you want to have attached some real estate. So what do you mean? Or a truck or a car or whatever. We go and purchase vehicles all the time. If you have a vehicle, you need to put it in your business name so that if there ever come a time, you can attach that as collateral for your business. Okay? So that brings me to the next thing. How do we have business credit? How do you establish business credit? Business credit, like I said, your DUNS number reports on your business. So a person can go, the banks can go onto your DUNS and they can look, and it's on the website, and they can see what type of credit history that you have for your business. Now, business credit is not the same as personal credit. I'll say it again. Business credit is not the same as personal credit. When you have business credit, what it does, you have 45 days to make a payment. So you can have a net 30, net 60, net 90. What that means is that if you go 30 days, if you get a line of credit with the company, they'll give you 30 days to make a payment. Some companies give you 60 days to make a payment. Some companies give you 90 days to make a payment before it reports derogatory on your company. I'll say that again. Some companies give you 30, 60, 90 before it reports derogatory on your company. But let me let you know the trick of this. It's not like when you're personal credit to where if you are 31 days, they might not report it and you can still make a payment and it won't show up negative. That's not how business credit works. Business credit works like this. If they netted 30, you have to pay it in 15. So what'll happen is on the 15th, yeah, you're good. But what'll happen is if you go up to the full amount of time, that's almost a negative. Because what businesses like to do, they like to see you pay in advance. Okay, so if when all possible, whenever you establish business credit, don't go to 30 days, don't go to 60 days, don't go to 90 days. Go 15 days prior to the payment being due. And if you want to do it, pay it by credit card or pay it by check. If you pay it by check, put it in the mail early and make sure that it clears your account on the day of the 15th day. So that's how you establish business credit. Let me give you some tools that you can use to help you establish business credit with no money down. Okay? So just say, for instance, you leasing a building, right? Whenever you lease that building, you can have that owner of that building report to DUNS on your behalf, or you can grab a copy of your check and send it to the Dun and Bradstreet yourself, front and back, showing that you have made payments. Now, that will report as a line of credit on your business. So that's how people with no Social Security can come in and get a loan at the bank and you can't. I'll say it again. That's why people with no social securities can come into the bank and get a loan and you can't. The cavalry is not coming. The creek is rose and the levee is given way. It's up to us to save us. So the second thing is, if you are in a leasing, you're leasing a place, guess what? Okay, cool. You're making your payment. Just say, for instance, you're not leasing, you're doing it from home. Well, when you can write a check to yourself, and guess what you can do? You can report that to the DUNS because you're paying yourself rent. Let's talk about a third way you can establish credit. Most of us have vehicles that we drive around. Put it in the company's name, and as you make your car payment and your company's payment, guess what? You can report those to the DUNS. All of these things that you can do to start establishing business credit. Some banks will allow you to do a secure credit card. And if you are looking to be in certain industries, if you get a secure credit card, guess what? The same thing can happen. Gas card is another way that you can establish business credit. If you go to your local local Staples office supply companies, they will extend you a business line of credit so that you can get started. Once you establish the business lines of credit, then you are on your way. Okay? How many times can you have a 30-day late before you get turned down? Well, it's not really how many times you can be 30-day late, because remember, businesses do 30, 60, 90, right? Just like on your personal credit. But when you do your personal credit, you make that payment on the 1st or the 15th or whenever it is. But when you're dealing with business credit, you got to pay in advance. Okay? That is so important that you understand when you're dealing with business credit, you pay in advance. Okay? So let's talk about it. I had a business, MA&D Capital Investment Group. How do you raise funds for business credit? One of the things that you got to do is that a part of your business, you got to learn how to network. You got to learn how to get people to invest into your idea. Okay? That's the number one thing that you got to do, is that you have to learn how to get people to invest into your idea. And the way that you get people to invest into your idea is that you provide service, not how profitable it is in your business plan. And I'll say it again, it's not about how profitable you is in your business plan. It's how well you're going to service your customers. Facebook would not be Facebook if they was not providing a service. Service is how people get funded. It's not your business plan. It's about how you provide service to your client. And if you provide a good service to your client, then you can get funded for whatever project that you have. That is the number one tool that you got to understand when you're trying to get business credit. If you're providing services, guess what will happen? People will fund your business. If you're providing no services and you just got a great idea, guess what happened? Most people want to see you produce that idea first, then they'll fund you. But if you can show any investor, any bank, hey, I'm going to provide this service, these are how many people I'm going to service, and this is the plan that I'm going to have to service these people, then the bank will look at you in a different way, and then they'll look at your assets. And I'll say it again. Once you provide the service, you got a great plan, now they're looking at your assets. What is your assets? What can the banks is going to say, what legally can I go back and collect? What can he put up for collateral? Some of us have had poor credit. I've been in that situation myself. I've had poor credit. I don't qualify to get a bank loan. The banks want to see you with a 700, 750 score before they will issue you a loan. Okay? Unless you have an asset that they can attach it to. Okay? So what happens when you are trying to get a loan? You have to understand what the people are trying to do. So when you're looking to have a good service, then You can also have, like Katina's saying, thank you for that comment, Katina, but don't want to see good projects for a prediction on their return. Banks want to see a return, but let me tell you what they want to see more so than that. What is their risk? What type of risk am I taking with making or doing business with you? And if you provide good services, then guess what they'll do? They'll take that chance. So the next thing is that when you get your asset 90 days late, I showed you that you can go to Office Depot, you can go gas cards, you can do those type of things. But if you can work with somebody to get real estate and you attach it to your company, the banks are going to look at you a lot better. A lot of times when I said that I was going to provide the services, most people be like, well, I want to get it for free, or I keep getting turned down. A lot of it is because you have not set up your company properly. You have not filed the taxes on your company. You haven't got incorporated properly. You're not paying your employees properly. Your company, when they pull up your company, you're not in a position that the bank can look at and say, okay, this is a viable company that we can invest into, because that's what it is. It's an investment. Okay. So the next step is McDonald's. I use McDonald's as the classic example. McDonald's makes his money not off of selling hamburgers. McDonald's make their money off of the real estate of their franchise. So when you go to a McDonald's, you're thinking that when you pay that $1.40 for that hamburger, that's not what that $1.40 is for. That $1.40 is for the franchise owner, but the McDonald's, the company that goes to the bank and get a loan to build the building, they're giving real estate. They're attaching real estate to that. So what are you saying, Cepeda? If we want to create generational wealth in our community, let me just be very clear here. That dilapidated building that's down the street around the corner from your mama's house, go buy that building, find out who owns it, buy that building, and then do some cosmetic work to it. Then guess what? The bank will give you money to fund the rest of your business. What are you saying? When I was looking for funding, I ran into a guy, and he said, Cepeda, what can you do to help me? So he was a lender that lent money to individuals that wanted to buy a house or started a business of flipping houses. I was like everybody else. But what separated me from everybody else is I provided a service to take care of his need. When I was able to take care of his need, I understood if I wanted a loan from the bank, I had to have an asset. So what did I do? I got him, he needed clients. I provided him with clients that bought his houses. And in return, he gave me a loan with no money down to purchase a house that I wanted so I could sell. No money down. Same concept. It doesn't matter. If you're in the toothbrush business, guess what? There's somebody out there that's selling toothpaste, and they need you to provide people to brush their teeth. And guess what happens? When you're able to solve his problem, they can solve yours. That's what generational wealth is all about. Okay? So what happened was, as I began to get more clients to purchase his product, he began to give me more funding to help me do what I wanted to do, which was create mortgages for these individuals. So what happened was I was able to secure financing, not against my personal credit, but against my business. And when my business was able to secure the home that I own free and clear now, then guess what happened? I went to a lender and said, listen, I don't want to use my personal credit. I want to use my business credit to refinance this house. So we're talking about generational wealth. My daughter stays in that house today with no mortgage. Okay? So what are you talking about generational wealth? This is how you create it through a business. Whatever industry you're in, there's people out there that will fund you, your business, your idea, if you're providing service. If you're not providing a service, you will not get finance unless you know somebody, unless you got somebody who can co-sign for you. Okay. The next thing is when you're talking about business credit, says, how do I start business credit with no money or a personal guarantor? Okay. A lot of us say, hey, man, there's no money out here for me. I was trying to do it. How do you do it? Well, this is how you do it. Whenever you create a business, right, you have to be able to have a tax ID number. This is another way on how you can get finance. This is a trick of the trade. Whenever you go into the bank and you pull out $10,000, then that you have to fill out a CRT. That means that you pulled out $10,000. The government is watching you, and you gotta let them know that you pulled out $10,000. Well, let me show you something. If you can get to the point of having $10,000 in your bank account, a business bank account, the banks look at you in a different way. Okay, not saying that you got to use your cash, but one of the things you can do is once you hit that level, you can say, hey, listen, I have had this amount of money in your institution, and I want to get $1,000 line of credit against my business. I don't want to guarantee it. I want you to secure it. And they will give you a line of credit of $1,000, and they will increase it as you show that you can make those payments. Once again, it's about providing a service. Once you start to get finance in the banking industry, then the doors are wide open. Okay? There's a lot of different products out here that can help you get to your finances. If you are in a high volume business, okay? If you have a checking account, everything should be done through your business checking account. Every payment should go through your business checking account. So if you have a high volume business, so you're making $4, $5, $10,000 a month, right? Not saying that you have to continue to get it, but if people are paying you and you can show cash flow going through your business, it's not an average balance. It's how much business can go through your account. That's what they're looking for. How volatile is your business going through their account? If you have $2,000, $3,000 going through your account, that's great. But if you can get it to 10 or 8, that's even better. So when you are looking at getting a loan, the bank does not look at what your average balance is. Now, they'll tell you that, but they're looking at how much money is literally going through your account. That's what they're looking at. They're looking at, okay, if they got $20,000 a month going to their account, that's a good thing. You don't have to have every month a zero balance. You can keep that money going through that account. The more deposits you have, I don't allow people to give me nothing. Send it to my Cash App. My Cash App is attached to my business. I'm putting everything in my business. Why? Because I want to show as much income as I can. So when I get ready to go to the bank and say, hey, how much money have you gotten? This is how much cash flow has went through my account. Now, I was talking to an individual a couple of days ago, and I think the confusion in our community is this. When we make deposits in our account, now I got to get taxed on it immediately. No, that's a part of being in business. You can have deposits in your account depending on how you're set up, right? You can have deposits or you can have a zero balance. One of the things that we want to do in the African American community, we want to get a loan, but we don't want to pay taxes. So what happens is we get this money, we don't want to pay taxes, so we say we claim zero. That sounds good, but you're not going to get a loan. So what happens is what we must do is if I'm trying to get a loan, then guess what I need to do? I need to pay taxes on that money. So now when I go into the bank, then I can get a loan. Otherwise, if I claim zero on my taxes, guess what? The bank is going to say, okay, you can't afford it. So you gotta know where you're at in your business. Okay. The next thing that I've seen that will help us out is You do not want to use your personal credit, if at all possible, to fund your business. Now, what is that talking about? Most of the time, we're talking about budgeting. So let's talk about it. When you're talking about setting up your business, your expenses should be your lifestyle. The lifestyle that you have should be the expenses that you have. I'll say it again. Most of us in the African American community, we don't understand. We want a budget. This is what I can do and this is what I can't do. And guess what? Your budget is broken. So many times I see people, I got a budget. That's not what gets you the loan. Your lifestyle is what gets you the loan. I'm giving you what banks look at and what people who are successful do in business. They do not, people who have great companies do not have budgets. They have lifestyles, their brand. Nike is a brand. When you get a Nike, that's why they can charge $175 for a shoe. It's the brand. People want to buy a brand. They want to make sure that they are living a lifestyle. So the owners of Nike, because they have branded themselves that I want to be like Mike, guess what? Their brand is moving forward. If you go back and look at what Nike was before Michael Jordan got there, those guys were not doing what they were doing. Converse and Adidas was killing the game. But guess what happened? There was a guy that came in and said, your brand is your lifestyle. When you change your lifestyle with your business, then your business will start to thrive. That's why I said in the Jewish community, and I'll use them as an example, in the Jewish community, they promote lifestyle, not budgets. That's why 3% of the American population is Jewish, but on the Forbes, they're over 40%, 37 to 40% on the Forbes list. How is 3% that great? It's their lifestyle. They understand money. When you start to understand money, then you can impact your community, you can impact your kids, and you can impact your future generations. You have to understand money. So business credit is important to our community. Okay. So when you understand business credit, you're setting everything up right. You came in, you have an asset in your company. Don't go out and expend trying to keep up with the Joneses. Okay. When these guys are starting off, look at when they first started. They all started in a garage. They started on a back porch, at a dining room table, wherever they're starting. They started off very small. Their lifestyle did not have the extravagance that they ended up with. But once they got people invested into them because of the service, people started to give because they understood that this is a great service. Now you can get funded. What do you mean? You mean to tell me only thing I got to do is provide a service and you can get funded? Yes. That's what people are looking to fund. Banks are looking to fund companies that provide great service. Now, when you're talking about your personal credit, they will ask you, are you going to guarantee this? And you might have to guarantee it on the first time around. So next week, we're going to talk about your personal credit and what you need to do to create generational wealth. But today we're talking about business credit. So when you create that business, now you have a personal guarantor. How do I use business credit? Now, once you get that business credit, remember I told you it's 0 to 100. It's 0 to 100. Once you get that business credit, just say it's 75. If you want to get a credit card, get a gas card. Remember, they're going to say 30, 60, 90. They're going to say 45, 90. Use it 30 days. Use it for 30 days. Okay? Don't go the full 30 days. Use it, pay it off. Use it, pay it off. Use it, pay it off. And after about 3 months, they're going to issue you an increase in your line of credit. Gas cards are the easiest cards to get to start to establishing business credit along with office furniture and office equipment. Once you do that, whatever service market you're in, if you're a beautician, ask your vendors where you buy your vendors. Do they have a credit card that you can buy so you don't have to use your hard cash? They used to say cash is king. Cash is not king no more. Credit is king. Credit is king. Okay? When we start to compete in our community for dollars in our community, well, what we've been struggling with is we don't understand credit. Once we start to understand credit, then guess what? That puts us in the game. Once we get in the game, now I can grow my business because my cash flow is good. My credit is good. Now, when you use business credit, it takes the pressure off of your personal credit. I'll say it again. Once you get business credit, it takes the pressure off of your personal credit. So what happens when you got business credit? It just say your business flops. The average businesses do not succeed the first time. They go through about 5 or 6 times before they become successful. Well, every time if you use your personal credit, every time your business fails, guess what you're going to do? You're going to take a hit. Every time your business fails, you're going to take a hit. So what should you do? Put everything in your business. That's why it has its own identity. If it flops, okay, I learned my lesson. The next time I do it, I'll get better. That's how you grow your business. You got to give yourself a chance to learn on the learning curve. Remember, I said that my credit was horrible. When I first got into business, I was horrible. Why? Because I paid for everything cash and I used my personal credit. But once I started using my business credit and I started going around people that use credit, I started to understand that it's not about me using my personal credit. It's about me establishing business credit. And I don't have to always have cash or a personal guarantor to get to where I need to be. Some people want to provide services. And guess what? That's what I did. So when I was able to purchase, and I was just in the mortgage industry and the housing industry, which is a whole different dynamic. But once you start to understand that you're providing a service to the people, then people will finance you. Don't chase the dollar. Don't chase the dollar. Chase service. Okay? I'll use 50 Cent as an example. If 50 Cent was just chasing dollars and he's a national rapper, he's in the entertainment business. That's something that most people know. Guess what? He has a business. You know what made his business grow? He provided a service. What was the service? He provided TV shows in the African American community that related to the culture of what he had experienced. Michael Jordan is an example. What did Michael Jordan do? He provided a service for entertainment. LeBron James, service for entertainment. But you know what we don't have? We don't have people that's providing service in the tech industry. We don't have people that's providing service in the computer industry. We don't have people that's providing service in the finance industry. If we really want to impact our community in reference to generational wealth, those are the areas that we must begin to service in. That's how you win. Look at the Jewish community. Once again, what is the number one place that they invest in? They invest into the social industry. They invest into the entertainment industry. They're not entertainers. They're investing into the entertainment industry. That's how they become wealthy. This is what we must do. We must invest and provide services into the industries, into the areas that we can get the maximum amount of our return. When we start to do that, banks will start to lend to us as a people. It's up to us to save us. The cavalry is not coming. The creek has rose and the levee is giving way. I'm telling you that these are the things that you need to do in order for you to have a successful business. So how do I use business credit? When you use business credit, Business credit is an opportunity for you to learn. Most of the time, when we get business credit, we go and max it out and then we forget about it. No, use business credit just like you use your personal credit. Use business credit just like it's an opportunity for you to learn. Once you get it, treat it like gold. It will treat you like gold. I often say, you reap what you sow. If I sow good credit, I'm going to reap good credit. If I sow bad credit, I'm going to reap bad credit. So what you have to do is create a habit, create a lifestyle, create a lifestyle that represents your company. Don't create the lifestyle that you can't afford. Create that lifestyle that represents your company. And that's how you begin to use business credit. If you are not generating $300,000, don't look like it. Use what you have to get to where you want to be. Okay? That the banks will reward you later. The banks will reward you later. Stay within your means. Okay? You will be successful if you can maintain yourself. Business credit is used. You get a gas card, you get a credit card, you get, like I said, if you're paying rent someplace, you can get them to report to the DUNS number. And if you're trying to get grants, the DUNS number is a must. If your business is a non-for-profit, you getting grants, you got to have a DUNS number. One thing will help you out. If you have audited financials, guess what? They're going to look at that and they're going to look and see, okay, this company really got it together. Okay, use marketing. So we're going to open it up. We're going to open it up for questions in a minute. Where do I find my business? Okay, where do I find my business? So the question becomes, where do I find my business? Is where do you want to service your people? Okay, wherever you service your people, that's where your business is at. I'll say it again. Wherever you service your people, that's where your business is at. When you're talking about growing your business and finding funding, that's where you will find your business. Okay? If you are in the car business, you're going to go to people that want cars. If you're going into the car business, you're going to want to go to people that want cars. You want to go to an auction to where you can purchase your cars. But if you are limited in how much money that you can buy for a car, you're going to be limited on how much services you can provide for your clients. So you want to go to the auction and find out what their floor plan is so that you can purchase as many cars as possible. So you got to set up your business account so that you can get those cars. And it shouldn't always be your personal credit. And it always should never really be your cash. But you got to start someplace. So bet on yourself. The second thing you got to do is make sure that wherever you are, whatever industry your business is in, make sure that you are attaching something tangible to it. Real estate, a car, stocks, bonds, something. Attach something to your business, preferably real estate. It doesn't matter. You might not be in the real estate business, but if you attach some type of hard collateral to your business, guess what? The banks are going to lend to you eventually. So what are you saying? What type of debt to income should you have? Whenever you have a business, it's not about debt to income. I'll say it again. It's not about debt to income. It's about cash flow. How much money do you have going through that account? So right now, I'm going to do a demonstration. So I don't normally do this, but if I have a bank account, so this bank is PNC. This bank is Chase. Okay, this bank is Fifth Third. Okay, so we started off with $1,000 here, $1,000 in each account. Okay, so I withdrew 500 out of this one. I withdrew 500 out of this one. I withdrew 200 out of this one. So look, I withdrew $1,200, but say I put 700 back in this one from here. Okay. So what is it going to show? It's going to show that I have deposits of $1,700. Okay. It shows I had a deposit of 1,000. So literally, I have $3,700 that I just deposited into my accounts. Okay, so I have the luxury of either filing taxes on the 3,700 or writing the 3,700 off. If you write the 3,700 off, you already know that if you have a zero and you don't claim any taxes, you know that the banks are not going to lend you any money. But if you pay taxes on that, then guess what's going to happen? The banks are going to be like, okay, he ran $3,700 in his account. What is his expenses? Do you have a rent? Do you have employees? All of those things they'll take in consideration. Okay. So without any further ado, I want to make sure that these are things that banks look at when you are trying to qualify for a loan or you are looking for a home. So I'm going to give you the last key thing that I've done over the past 15 to 20 years to create generational wealth for me and my family. Now, this is something very practical. When I started in the business of credit, I did not know that credit played such an important role. My personal credit played such an important role on my business credit. Your personal credit will jumpstart. If you have good personal credit, you can jumpstart your business because they will look at your personal credit to do a loan for you, but they will not attach it to you personally. If you have a 750 score, then guess what we can do? You can actually start your business and get a line of credit at a bank. And I would suggest that you go to as many banks as you can to get those lines of credit, because the banks will lend based upon your personal credit. And then when they start lending, then it's going to show up on your DUNS. And if you show good pay history, then there's going to be an opportunity for you. Now, in business credit, now they like to issue credit cards. It's not like your personal to where credit cards are with a high interest rate and things of that nature. When you're looking at business credit, they like to issue you your personal credit card. American Express, Black Card, Capital One. These are some of the institutions that issue credit cards for your business. Well, how can you turn that into cash? Well, the way that you turn that credit card into cash is they call what is called a cash advance or mezzanine. So what they'll do, most banks, if you can show that you have invoiced the customer and you are going to collect funds from a customer, sometimes certain banks will lend based upon your invoice and who it's with. So if you are providing services for the state of Indiana and you have a contract with the state of Indiana, then guess what they will do? They will lend you money off of that contract that you have with the state of Indiana. Why? Because you're providing a service and they know that that money is guaranteed. So there's different ways on how you can fund your business. And don't get discouraged if you've been told no. Look for ways on how you can better service your clientele. You will find that once you start to service your clientele, you will find ways to finance what you're trying to get done. So what has happened is most of the time when we go into these financial institutions, we have poor credit, about 500, 600 scores. And when we go in, we don't have any assets. The banks look at us and they say, hey, we don't have nothing to attach ourselves to in case you go into default. And then we walk out and we get frustrated because we have not done the things that we needed to do. So if you are looking to get finance or you're looking for funding, you need to find out first is what services do you provide first. Secondly, put the money in your account. Thirdly, find ways on who the target market, who you're at, who are you targeting, and then make sure that your DUNS number is up to date and it's accurate. Get incorporated, have an accountant, check your stuff, call us. My number is flashing down there on the screen. There's no reason why you shouldn't qualify for a bank loan after hearing me today. One, I said you got to get incorporated. Okay, so let's name this down. One, go get incorporated. Come up with a name, get incorporated. You get your tax ID, get a logo, set yourself up on a social media platform. Okay, set up your bank account because now you have a tax ID number. Now, whatever industry you're in, you're always going to need paper. Go to Staples. Go to the local companies. Go to the local office companies. Get that line of credit. If you want to know some companies, give me a call. I'll do it for a small fee. I'll show you exactly how to do it, step by step by step by step. Second thing you want to do, third thing you want to do, if at all possible, attach your company to your car. Attach it to your home, wherever you make your payments. Attach that. Then you need to register on the Dun and Bradstreet. That is what is considered business credit. You have to register with them. Sometimes it's a small fee, sometimes it's not. I'm not going to say which way that you should go. It's all based upon the needs of what you're trying to do with your company. Once you have registered with the DUNS number, once you have gotten incorporated, once you have established your bank accounts, I would strongly suggest that you have 3 different banks. Okay? You need to have 3 to 4 different banks. Why? Because as you start to make those deposits into those accounts, you're going to have to reconcile those numbers, but I would have each one account different. Don't combine the 2. Then once you are able to generate income and show income, okay, pay taxes on it. Banks are going to look at that. Once you pay taxes on it, then guess what will happen? Your business credit is going to start going up. You have audited financials. Remember I said it's 0 to 100. You want to be at about the 90 to 100. And if you got $10,000 in your account, that's what that's kind of the sweet number that the banks want to be at. They want you to have that ability to provide that $10,000 in that account. Once you get that, it's going to trigger that DUNS number. That DUNS number is going to be looking mighty good. Guess what will happen? People will start to look at you. You can go in there. Do not go into the bank with no assets, nothing, just a great idea. They're going to turn around and send you right back home. Okay? I'm asking if you have liked what you hear, if you have some questions, this is the time where you can ask. Takara, she said, Takara Bumper, she said $10,000 in your business account. Yes, that's a sweet number for businesses. If you're trying to get lines of credit and you're in the banking business and you're trying to get a line of credit, $10,000 on the average is what the sweet spot is for businesses. If you don't have that, don't be alarmed. Try to figure out where you can service yourself at, where you can provide services. They want to see that rotation of that money going through that account. You don't want to keep an average balance of $10,000. You just want to keep floating $10,000 through that account. Floating is not a word that the bankers like to use, but you want to show a volatile account where you keep putting money in and you're pulling money out because of you paying your bills, you paying your employees, you getting money. Keep that one account and put as much money in that account as possible. Okay, so $10,000 is the sweet number. Okay, in the banking industry, we know that. Any more questions? Alex, Maxie, 10,000 per month revenue or cash in the bank? Yes, Alex, 100%. We want to keep that $10,000. Now, Alex brings out a good point. The banks, there are institutions out here. They want to see it for 3 to 4 months. 3 months. If you can show $10,000 to $15,000 cash flowing through your account, deposits into your account for 3 months, give me a call. I know some banks that will fund you. Okay, I know some banks that will fund you. Now I'm going to throw this out there for you, and this is people. If you're serious about banking, if you're serious about your business, okay, this is a tip that I will give anybody who are looking to start a business. Find out what the credit scores of the bank is. The banks have credit scores, and find out what these bank scores are, because the lower their score, the more tighter they are to be able to lend you money. So the banks who are in trouble, they want to make sure that they're doing the good things. So there's some banks here in the city, there's some lawsuits that they have to lend into our community, and we got to take advantage of them. So what we have to do is make sure that our DUNS number is correct, make sure that we have the deposits in our account, make sure that we were running at least 15 to 20,000, $10 to $15,000 to our account a month. If we can show that for 3 to 4 months in a row, give me a call. I can help you. Okay, there are banks 3 months in a row showing those deposits. If you want to have a goal, set a goal for your business, $10,000 a month for 3 months. Then I can start to get lines of credit for my business. Okay, so now guess what? I just gave you a tool that I gave you how you should run your business. One, make sure it's service oriented. How many people are you servicing? Target marketing. I don't care if you're in the food business. Find out where your target is. $10,000 a month. Once you hit that number, do it again. If you do it again for 3 months, the banks will start to look at you to get lines of credit. There's some credit institutions out there that will be able to do it. Now, let's take it another level. Next week, we're going to create a club. You're going to be able to subscribe. Next week, we're going to talk about the 700 Club. If your credit is not up to par, okay, if your credit is not up to par, that's fine. We can help you. We're going to start a 700 Club. Tell your friends and family. You're going to be able to subscribe. Next week, I'm going to start submitting some stuff, but we're going to create a 700 Club. And what this club is going to do is that we're going to help people get to a 700 credit score, and we're going to have dialogue and different things on what we can do to help generate more money for ourselves when we create that 700 Club. When you talk to people, you know, my mom used to always say, and my grandmother used to always say, people that think alike, act alike, they hang around each other alike. So we want to create our own 700 Club. We want to create our own Black Wall Street. We want to create our own opportunities. So the question becomes is, what can we do? Well, the first thing we can do is start working on our personal credit and reward ourselves and have conversation with people who are going in that direction, in the same direction we're going. And that is very refreshing. We're going to create a 700 Club to where if you don't have a 700 credit score, you're going to be able to subscribe, log in. I'm going to show you how we can do it. We're going to encourage one another to keep our bills paid, what we can do to get to that score. And once we get to that score, at the end of the year, I'm going to do something special that nobody is out here that's doing it. Once we create those people, the 700 Club, you know, there's an old show which was called the 700 Club, but we're going to create the 700 Club that's going to be people with credit scores of 700 or better. Okay. And that's how we're going to celebrate. And that's how we're going to impact and empower our communities, our banks, our businesses, and our communities, okay? Because I believe the cavalry is not coming. The creek is rose and the levee is giving way. It's up to us to save us. So we're going to create our own 700 Club. If you have ever wanted to know about credit, and you always, if you wondered like I was the pink elephant in the room. I was trying my best to get to my score to go up, but I didn't have any tools. If you want to know how to build your credit, build your business, get to the 700 Club, teach your kids how to get to the 700 Club, and learn how to make money off of the 700 Club, this is what you should be subscribing to. Now, there's nothing else that we can do. That's something that you're going to have to want to do for yourself, okay? That is something, Takara, that's right. A lot of people have said it, but nobody has followed through. We're going to follow through because I understand that there's a nugget at the end, right? There's going to be a nugget at the end. We're going to go to a special place. Everybody's going to have 700 credit scores that we're going to be around. My goal is to create 100 people with 700 credit scores. And in the month of January of next year or December of next year, we go to a destination and celebrate, and we come back and we impact our community where we're at to help them get to a 700 score. So we're going to each one teach one that we're going to economically impact our community. Starting next week, I'm going to talk about credit. And I'm going to get into detail about what credit is, how we can build our own personal credit, what is some of the things, the tools that we can use to help build our credit, and then what can we do to make money off our credit. That is what we're going to do starting next week. So the cavalry is not coming. The creek has rose and the levee is giving way. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to take control of our own community and our own banks and our own businesses so that when we sit at the table, when these individuals sit at the table and they come into our community and they say, hey, I want to invest, we are ready, qualified, ready to take advantage of the opportunities that are there. There's some banks here that's being sued, and they have to give money to our community, and we're not taking advantage of it. So I want to create an avenue to where if you're looking for funding for your business, give me a call. If you're trying to start a business, I've given you the tools. I've given it up. I charge. Go to my website, www.madcapitalinvestments.com. You'll see today what I talked about, I charge $10,000 for. And I don't mind sharing this with you. I gave it today because there was such a demand for people asking me, Cepeda, how do I get business credit? How did you do it? How did you purchase the houses with no money down? I've told you how I did it. I provided a service to my people. And because I provided a service to my people, I had a hard money investor that was willing to invest into me, and I did it with no money down. I have a house today. If you don't know what it is, I can show you. I can show you how I did it step by step by step by step. But the number one thing that you have to do is that you have to change the way you think of money. You have to change the way you think of money. Money is not bad. It's what you do with it once you get it that can make it bad. Money is a great tool to bless a lot of different people. Money is a great tool to impact your community. And money is a great tool to help you get to where you want to go. So once again, we have to change the way we look at money. We have to change the way we look at wealth. Wealth is not a bad thing. Money is not a bad thing. Only because you're wealthy, that doesn't mean you're crooked. That doesn't mean you're a liar. You're a cheat. That don't mean that you use somebody else. And we need to quit using the word give back. We don't want to give back no more. Let's quit using that word. Give back means that you stole something that was not yours, or you was borrowed something that was lent to you. No. I don't want to give back no more. I want to start accepting what's mine, and I want to contribute to the wealth of you. Today, that's what I want to do. I want to contribute to your wealth. If you are trying to get ahead, if you're trying to start a business, if you're trying to get your personal credit right, buy a house, whatever it is, give me a call, 317-847-2810. I'm here to service you. The cavalry is not coming. The creek has rose and the levee is giving way. It's up to us to save us. I'm not giving you no quick get rich quick schemes. I'm here to service you. And if you have a business, look at ways on how you can service the people that is around you. Look at ways on how you can service your family members. See how you can service your friends. See how you can service your community. If you do not know how to do it, guess what? We're here to show you. Next week, we're going to start the 700 club, which you're going to be able to subscribe, find out what your credit score is, get involved, have conversations, ask questions, and like-minded people with going somewhere with their personal credit. No more can we be ashamed to where if you have poor credit, You don't have to be ashamed. Just start right where you're at. Come in, be a part of Mad Capital Investment Group. We're going to start the 700 Club, and next year we're going to have 100 people with 700 credit scores, and we're going to go to a destination and celebrate next year. We can do it. 100 people, 700 credit scores, giving back to our community and servicing us. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to come into your home on a Wednesday for an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes. Thank you for allowing me to come in. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for allowing me, and I don't take it lightly, thank you for allowing me to come in and inspire you to bet on yourself. Once again, ladies, the cavalry ain't coming. The creek is rose. The levee is giving way. It's up to us to save us. We want to create a Black Wall Street. This is how we do it. It starts with you looking at the man in the mirror and saying, hey, or a female in the mirror and saying, hey, I can do better with what I have, and I'm going to invest into me. If you have any questions about starting a business, want to know about your personal credit, want to know how to get a DUNS number set up properly, want to know how to get the funds, give me a call. I'm here to service you. Once again, till next week. Well, next week we'll be forming the 700 Club. Be a part of it. Tell somebody. Get with 2 or 3 of your girlfriends or friends, boyfriends, whatever. Get your family together. Come in and say, hey, I'm going to try this out. And I guarantee you, if you bet on yourself, you can't lose because you're betting on you. I believe in you. Believe in yourself. Till next week. See you later. Cavalry's not coming. The creek is rose. Levee's giving way. It's up to you to save you. Thank you.